What is muscle response testing, or MRT, and how does it work? Briefly, MRT is a tool to communicate with each other on a subconscious level. The practitioner asks a yes-no question and receives a weak or strong response by a chosen muscle. And in NMT, we explain MRT as our ability to entangle our minds. But can we actually entangle our minds? Yes, according to different researchers such as Dean Radin, some communication can happen between our brains if we direct our focus correctly. In one of Dean Radin's experiments, 2 participants were sitting in 2 different rooms and their brain activities were measured. Through focusing on each other and meditating together, their measured brain waves became synchronized, indicating an entanglement of their brains. As the participants were sitting in Faraday cages, the exchange of information between their brains could not be explained by electromagnetic fields. This entanglement became even clearer in the second step. A light source was installed in room 1, and the visual cortex of the person in room 2 responded to the blinking light in room 1. In NMT, the ability of the practitioner to entangle with a client is key for a well-working MRT. Thereto, the NMT practitioner needs to let go of the belief in separation and focus on the connection with the client. Therapeutic entanglement between the NMT practitioner and client occurs spontaneously as they interact within the NMT session. The NMT practitioner says or just thinks about a yes-no question and receives a strong or weak response by the client. The NMT practitioner communicates to the client in that way their choice for what a strong muscle response is to indicate, an affirmative or a negative response to the inquiries and statements that comprise the NMT protocol, and the NMT session proceeds in this way. The purpose of this other than conscious therapeutic dialogue revolving around the client's health issues is to induce their mind-body to recognize the errors it has made in physiological regulation but has failed to reconsider. Now, aware of how those previous errors have blocked the road to healing, the innate intelligence of the mind-body is empowered to recalibrate its path back to wellness. The NMT practitioner ensures that the MRT is correct by asking the it is not questions. If it is triggers a strong response, then it is not needs to trigger a weak response. Otherwise, the MRT is false. In this case, the practitioner usually resets the communication with the client by asking okay to continue, followed by it is not. The success of an NMT treatment depends on the practitioner's ability to entangle with a client and engage in a conversation on a subconscious level by using MRT. There are many myths about what is required for a successful MRT in NMT. For example, there needs to be a physical touch between the client and the practitioner, or the client needs to be engaged in a verbal communication, or a strong response always means yes because the body is strong in response to a positive thought, or there is some kind of placebo effect going on based on what the client hears and believes in. But none of these are true. In fact, most NMT treatments are performed remotely, and quite often the client even dozes off. The entanglement between practitioner and client is still possible when the client is asleep. In these remote treatments, the NMT practitioner becomes the surrogate and performs the MRT on him or herself. Different muscle tests are possible, and it is up to the practitioner to define whether a weak response is a yes or a no. At the end, it's all about communication and the practitioner's ability to entangle with the client. Thanks for watching.